Hello world, welcome to a Champions Online guide. Today we'll look at the Automaton, the first of the reawakened archetypes. This one is a free, ranged damage build that can only be played once you level another character to 40. I did all of my leveling with the Nemesis gear because I'm lazy. The stat choices for this archetype are decent. You can't go wrong with Constitution, and Ego is a good primary stat for using its tree. Overseer isn't a terrible choice, but it's not a great choice either. The first significant fight is the one against Kevin Poe. Many people consider this very difficult for the level you'll end up doing it at. As always, kill the random mob before triggering the cutscene. This is very easy with Rocket Punch's 100-foot range. In fact, use the range to your advantage. Have a healing patch as backup and hide when you need to. This AT sucks at level 10 alerts just like the others do, but what do you expect missing one of your super stats? I did a combination of missions and non-rampage alerts to level, and didn't find anything to be unusually difficult. You end up with plenty of recognition that can be used for healing patches. Playing in groups is a bit different than when you run around solo. Chest Beam can knock even on tap, so it's something to be saved for bosses. If you're alone, full charge and watch everything fly. I like to lend airborne mobs my hand with a few rocket fists. Since Chest Beam applies a nice little debuff, tap once before chaining full charges. For trash mobs, Rocket Punch taps are good. It's not easy lining up perfect shot in groups and enemy health can drop fast. Once you have Orbital Cannon, you can use it as an opening attack. Anvil of Dawn is a must-have, especially in groups. Mobs are never in the same spot once a fight starts. Target the highest health enemy. I like to start Orbital Cannon, then tap Chest Beam, mostly on bosses that tend to be knock immune. Orbital Cannon and a fully charged Rocket Punch is also fun for normal enemies. The last combo that is entertaining is Orbital Cannon with Implosion Engine. The cannon by itself will often kill the weakest enemies outright. With Implosion Engine, you will be left with a few things to pick off if anything survives. If you see a teammate in trouble, tapping Binding Shot on the most dangerous enemy can prevent them from dying. At 40, even in crummy green gear, the Automaton is much more powerful. Having more cost discount helped greatly. Cooldown reduction means being able to use all of those high damaging powers with a cooldown more often. You can have more of one or balance them out depending on what you want. I also ended up with extra recovery since that gear was super cheap. The extra recovery meant that 1 or 2 hits from Wrist Bolter were enough to fill the energy bar between fully charged chest beams. I talented for endurance just to have enough energy for those fully charged chest beams. Using level 40 gear, I have 30% crit chance with all of 15 dexterity. The stats you see are achieved with crummy gear and mods. Using Armadillo secondaries for the extra defense isn't a bad option, but you'll lose some crit chance from secondary offense. Ideally, I would go with a 3 Ego, 3 Constitution mod. A small investment in recovery with secondary gear will help with energy. Normally I wouldn't invest in recovery at all outside of what I want to get from being a super stat, but this archetype doesn't have the benefit of a good energy unlock or a form that gives energy. The gear I'm using has things you want to look for in decent gear as well. Primary offense should be Gloves of Piercing with a Gambler, secondary offense with critical hit chance. Primary defense is best focusing on defense with an impact mod. Secondary defense can either be flat health or all stats. You have Constitution as a super stat, so flat health isn't as amazing as it is on low Constitution characters. The primary utility depends on what you want more, cost discount, cooldown reduction, or a balance of both. All 3 options are good. Secondary utility can be flat HP, cooldown reduction, cost discount, or a balance of the last two. All are good choices. My power choices focused on using all the area effect attacks. I didn't bother with Power Gauntlet since it's single target, and, well, Rocket Punch. I originally planned to use Automated Assault on wrist bolters, but found it ended up being pointless to do so. It doesn't work while charging Chest Beam, it doesn't grant stack of overdrive, and it doesn't do a whole lot of damage. Aspect of the machine doesn't have a reliable way of gaining stack, so ranking it up helps. Binding Shot does nice damage, so ranking it up, if you want to use it more, isn't a bad idea. I added Nail to the ground so I can knock flying enemies out of the air from melee teammates. Since Constitution is one of your super stats and Nimble Mind loves Constitution, it would be silly not to take the advantage for all the extra crits. Rank 2 isn't needed, but there isn't much reason to use those points elsewhere. Orbital Cannon is a great way to start a fight, and does decent damage. It works well with Implosion Engine. You could pick Energy Wave instead, but you already have a knock on Chest Beam and an optional knock on Rocket Punch. The shield advantage isn't anything amazing, nor is the damage. The reverse knock advantage isn't a bad choice, but you'll have Implosion Engine in 5 levels. Pros for this build. Rocket Punch is a fun power and does good damage. You can line up enemies and hit them all, or try to group them close for the area blast. Binding Shot is good crowd control on tap with a short cooldown. This is one of the few DPS archetypes with a self-heal. You can use Chest Beam and Rocket Punch while using Reconstruction Circuits. Once you hit 40, even with crap gear, the damage output is pretty good. I could steal aggro during smash alerts from other level 40 characters with my awesome greens and blues. Cons for this build. Overdrive is a terrible energy unlock for this archetype. There are only 2 powers that can even proc it, and one of those is Chainsaw Gauntlet, which isn't even worth taking. Overdrive is meant to be used stacked, and you'll almost never have more than one. At 1 stack, Overdrive is horrid. With 180 recovery, I only get 13 energy every 3 seconds. That's not even enough to power Reconstruction Circuits by itself. The choice between Chainsaw Gauntlet and Chest Beam isn't much of a choice. Targeting computer only enhances ranged technology attacks, so Chainsaw will gain nothing. You would be giving up your main damage power. The choice between Lock and Load and Ego Surge isn't much of a choice either. Nimble Mind is so much better than Lock and Load. Automated Assault does not give a stack of overdrive. You cannot charge up Chest Beam while using it. This basically means there is no reason to take the advantage. You will have energy issues the entire time you are leveling unless you spend time with non-leveling gear. I was able to full charge Chest Beam only once before needing to sit and wait for my energy builder to kick in. Aspect of the machine has a terrible stack requirement. You must get the killing blow in order to gain a stack. This is not friendly to teaming, boss fights, or PvP. For solo farming, there are better archetypes to use. Your ability to attack while healing is limited, unlike other similar heal over time abilities. Once you drain your energy, you'll need to shut off Reconstruction Circuits to regain energy. Healing felt more like a highlight of the energy issues than a useful heal. Rocket Punch and Power Gauntlet are redundant choices. There was no point in including both, and no reason to use both. I chose to focus on Rocket Punch because it's the shiny new power. It would have been better to have a block replacer or an active defense than to have Power Gauntlet. Despite the flaws, you can make this archetype work. It has high damage but is squishy even with the Constitution and a self-heal. Overall, I find the Automaton to be mediocre.